It is time to put 2023 to bed. But before we jump into my December monthly wrap, which is always the best way to close out a year, I am going to very quickly talk about all of my end of year stats with you all. I've been keeping up to date with my stats during the year and thought, well, we've finished a year now, so let's quickly note them down somewhere because I didn't do it in my favorites and non-favorites. So, as a total, in the year of 2023, I read a total of, for age ranges, 17 middle grades, 33 YA, and 75 adult books, which, yeah, just very quickly commenting on that, I'm surprised that I read overwhelmingly more adult books. That's not like me. Normally I read a lot more YA, so pretty happy with that. Okay, to my genres, I had 39 cozy mysteries, 18 fantasies, 12 classics, 11 horrors, 11 LGBTIQ+, 7 contemporaries, 7 thrillers, 6 dystopians, 6 memoirs, 6 romances, 2 mysteries, and 0 sci-fi, which is poor sci-fi. But yeah, 39 cozies. I wish I'd known that because then I would have read one more to make it 40. But yeah, still a lot of cozies, very cozy dominant. I'm very happy about that. And for star ratings, I had 45 stars, which is wonderful. 27 4.5 stars, 31 4 stars, 24 3 stars, 2 stars, and 1 star. Alright, so that's your 2023 yearly stats wrap. Let's now get into the stats for December. This is the December monthly wrap, and as per usual, let's put those stats for December up on the screen in 3, 2, 1, go. For the month of December 2023, I read a total of 11 books, comprising of 6 fantasies, 2 cozy mysteries, 1 memoir, 1 romance, and 1 LGBTIQ+. To my age groups, and I read 3 YA, 5 adult, and 3 middle grade books. To my lengths, I did well. I read 2 tomes. Go me! Which tomes are books that are over 500 pages. So I read 2 tomes, 6 half tomes, and 1 novella, totaling 4,167 pages, which is possibly the most amount of pages read for me in any month of 2023, which is pretty cool. To my star ratings, I had 6 5 stars, 1 4.5 star, 3 4 stars, 1 3 star. There you go. And yeah, let's now jump into what I read. I'm going to start off as I usually do with any books that I DNF'd in the month, and I did DNF a book this month that was not originally on my TBR, but I purchased the book and it just really let me down. And that was this book, Blame It On Bianca Del Rio by Bianca Del Rio. So Bianca Del Rio was the winner of RuPaul's Drag Race, a US season 6, so a classic season. And I didn't know that Bianca had, well, I thought, written a memoir, and so I thought I would like to read it. I'm going to talk in a moment about the first book that I read in December, which was a fellow season 6 queen from RuPaul's Drag Race, and so I was reading that memoir and thought, I wonder if Bianca Del Rio released a memoir. Oh, she has! So I purchased the book without reading anything about it. I always go into my books blind, and biggest mistake I could have ever made, because this was not a memoir. It was an advice book. So apparently it goes that Bianca Del Rio was offered to do many different things that she turned down, including the opportunity to write a memoir. She didn't want to do that because she didn't think people wanted to know more about her life. I would love to read an actual memoir by Bianca Del Rio. I think it would be fantastic to learn about how, Bianca, when Bianca was a little kid and then growing up and things like that. I would love to read about Bianca's life, but that's not what this was. Instead, Bianca came up with the compromise. People can ask her questions and she will answer them. It's a pretty simple concept. It disappointed me I wasn't getting a memoir, but the reason why I DNF'd was not because it wasn't a memoir, but because this book was incredibly offensive. Even though Bianca's standard form of comedy is insult comedy, she's an insult comic, and kind of like what's that person she always says? Don Rickles in a wig or something. I don't know. Yeah, her Bianca Del Rio's style of comedy I do love. Like when she is doing her own comedy routine. I love that. But it doesn't translate well into a book. In a book, it just comes across as really harmful, really hurtful, just really incredibly mean, rude, offensive. It just did not work for me at all. So I'm sad that I purchased the book because it cost a lot of money, including delivery, because I ordered it from the US. But anyway, we'll toss this aside because I've got a lot to talk to you about and we're already 5 minutes in. So the first book that I officially read in the month of December, which is what inspired me to pick up, blame it on Bianca Del Rio, was this book, Caught in the Act, which is by Shane Jenek, aka Courtney Act. So I did not know that Courtney had released a memoir. And when I found out, I was watching a random video on BookTube and someone was saying this, and of course you can read about it in her memoir. And I'm thinking, wait, memoir? Courtney wrote a memoir? When? Courtney is the only Australian that I know of that has entered into a US edition of RuPaul's Drag Race, and she made it into the top 3 in season 6 alongside Bianca Del Rio, and of course Adore Delano was there as well. So yeah, I was really intrigued to see what Courtney had to say in this book, given that Courtney was born and raised in Australia and then ended up moving to West Hollywood in America. So I wanted to see, yeah, what Courtney had to say. And I thought it was pretty good. The book wasn't even on my TBR, which if you know me, you know how out of character it is for me to read a book not on my TBR. But I've been watching something, as I said, on YouTube where the creator in a passing by comment said the words, which she, Courtney Act, of course mentions in her memoir, and I thought, wait, what? Courtney released a memoir. I think that's the only sad thing about the book. The advertising wasn't wide enough for me to be aware of it till that YouTube video. So despite being a stickler for my TBR, I ordered the book right away, and it was fantastic. I first knew of Courtney Act from season 1 of Australian Idol, where she made the top 13. I was then shocked when watching season 6 of Drag Race to see Courtney walk through the doors. The book discusses her stints on reality TV, including Idol and Drag Race, but also UK Celebrity Big Brother and other shows she's done too. But what I love about memoirs is how they go above and beyond the known and venture into unknown territory. It was great learning of what Shane, Courtney out of drag, was like as a child growing up, as well as learning about her first time experiencing drag and first time getting in drag. Ian Dicko Dixon, the Simon Cowell judge of Australian Idol back in the day, once famously said to Courtney, you know, if drag queens were ever in a state of 911, you're the queen to save them. To which Marsha Hines, the Paula Abdul of Australian Idol back in the day, replied, it's true. I've always recalled this quote and expected big things from Courtney, and years later can definitely say she's lived up to the potential. The book is fun, funny, entertaining, and educational. I highly recommend it, and I gave it 4 stars. So the next book that I read started my reread of a series that I absolutely love. If you are not interested in me talking about this content, feel free to skip ahead to a book that's not related to this series, but I spent a lot of December reading the majority of this series, and the first book in that series is called Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. This is by J.K. Rowling. It is a middle grade fantasy, and I gave this book 5 stars for what feels like the umpteenth time. So yeah, I read most of the Harry Potter books in December. Just very quickly letting you know, I did not get to Deathly Hallows, but I read every other book in the Harry Potter series in December, alongside other books as well, and really enjoyed my read. So yeah, book 1, what can I say? Yeah, if I were to guess, I'd say this is my 6th or 7th reread of the series, and potentially 8th or 9th reread of book 1. I know for a fact I had read this book 4 times since 2020, as I've read it once a year since then. To this day, I still can't help but love this book. J.K. Rowling's choice of having Harry brought up in a muggle world is fantastic for the reader, as the reader and Harry both get to experience this world at the same time and learn about it from it together. I keep forgetting how funny I find the beginning, where any reader cannot be put down for thinking this book This is a book that follows a man named Vernon Dursley, and they surround drill manufacturing. But from the moment Professor Dumbledore and his Deluminator arrive on Privet Drive for the first time, and has that conversation with Professor McGonagall, everything turns upside down, having the reader not only engaged but intrigued to see and learn more from the world of the woman who was once a cat, and the man who, clearly magical, has time to offer his friend a sherbet lemon. To this end, J.K. does not disappoint, taking the reader on a magical ride, including meeting Hagrid, learning of and from Diagon Alley, seeing and learning from Hogwarts, the houses, Oliver Wood, and all the professors. Till the very last word, it is a most entertaining read. No wonder readers still haven't found something that matches up to it yet. An overwhelming 5 stars from me. So, not surprisingly, the next book I picked up was this book, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling. This is a middle grade fantasy, and I also gave this book 5 stars. So, to my thoughts on book 2, I'm just not going to give the premise of these books, I'm just going to tell you my thoughts, but you can find the premises on Goodreads and other websites as well. I love this reread so much. It's not my favourite of the series, but it proudly stands on its own as a good book. I loved seeing the Burrow for the first time and seeing the different reactions between Harry, Ron and Hermione with regards to Professor Lockhart. I always enjoy Sir Nicholas's Death Day Party, which, if you want to ever talk to me about Harry Potter, one thing I'm just going to quickly say, which is not a spoiler, it's just, we're talking about a name of a character here. There is a character who is called Nearly Headless Nick, who tells everyone in book 1, I prefer Sir Nicholas if you don't mind, and they spend the rest of the series calling him Nearly Headless Nick, and it really annoys me. So to me, this particular character, again, no spoilers, it's just a character name, this particular character will always be referred to as nothing other than Sir Nicholas de Mimsy Porpington, okay? Okay. I always enjoy Sir Nicholas de Mimsy Poppington's Death Day Party, especially as it's not in the film. Loved seeing more of Hagrid's backstory, lapped up every minute of young Tom Riddle. That is one thing that shines in this book, is young Tom Riddle. I can't explain that enough. I'm just going to have to do some videos at some point soon and talk more about things that are so fantastic in each book. And while Chamber is not my favourite book, young Tom Riddle makes this book work so well. He is so fantastic as a villain. And of course, love Dobby, and capital letters, love Dobby. Truly fantastic to read this again, and of course, again, I gave it 5 stars. So I then took a break from the Harry Potter world and picked up this book, which is New Adult by Timothy Janowski. I don't quite understand why they're saying this, but this is book number 3 in the Boy Meets Boy trilogy. Look, I really don't get why Goodreads is saying this. So, they're saying that book 1 is Never Been Kissed, book 2 is You're a Mean One, Matthew Prince, and book 3 is New Adult. I've read all 3 of those books. They're all standalones, so maybe it's a Boy Meets Boy universe as opposed to a Boy Meets Boy trilogy, because you follow different characters in every single book, and you can read them all as standalones. But anyway, not the point. It is I don't even remember. It is an adult. Okay. It's an adult. The book is entitled New Adult, and the genre Goodreads gives it is adult. So it's an adult LGBTIQ plus book, and I gave this book a total of 5 stars. So the basic premise of this book, quickly before I tell you that actually, I love Timothy Janowski. Those 3 books I mentioned are the only books he's released so far, and they are all fantastic. If you are looking for male adult content to do with well-researched social issues that may come up, then I think you should definitely check out Phil Stamper. If you were just looking for great romances for LGBTIQ+, then don't go past Timothy Janowski. He is absolutely fantastic. So the premise of this book is 23-year-old Nolan Baker wants it all by the time he's 30. Too bad he's single, barely able to cover his own expenses, and still paying his dues at a prominent New York City Comedy Club. On the night of his sister's wedding, Nolan makes a life-altering decision that results in him losing all the important people in his life. What will the appreciation gift of crystals do? Nothing, right? But when Nolan wakes up 7 years into the future, he sees exactly what his decision has done. Can he fix what he has done, or is he doomed to live this reality forever? If you do not like time travel, you probably won't like this book because it does feature time travel. I included in the premise not as a spoiler, but because it's not a spoiler, it happens in the first third of the book. But I include it there in case you don't like time travel, then don't read it. But if you like time travel, then you'll really enjoy this. Anyway, I love this book from chapter 1 and all the way through to its ending. The introduction of the crystals into an MM romance worked really well. Add to that, Janowski is one of the best male authors to my mind, and you're in for an amazing treat. 5 stars all the way round. Can't wait for Janowski's next read. An overwhelming 5 stars from me. The next book that I read was this book, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling. This is a middle grade fantasy and I gave it 5 stars. And so to my thoughts on this one, I will always remember this book as the time turner book, and I think that's the biggest reason why this book is my favourite. But there are other things I realised I loved about it during this reread. I loved the introduction of the Marauders map. I loved Harry and Remus's chats. I loved all the Quidditch games, and I loved hearing Moony and Padfoot dive into their history. As the final middle grade book in the series, I also see what JK was doing here to prepare Harry and us for the darker things to come, and I once again gave it an overwhelming 5 stars. Can you tell? I only just kinda like this series, right? Totally kidding, I love this series and could read nothing but Harry Potter, like day after day after day. It's just so fantastic, and I was so happy to get to reread this series during December. 5 stars for Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. The next book that I read was not a Harry Potter book, but instead was this book, Death of a Wicked Witch by Lee and Hollis. This is book number 13 in the Hayley Powell Food and Cocktails mystery series. It is an adult cozy mystery, and I gave this book 3 stars. I will be reading books 14, 15, and 16, and if 17 comes out, then 17 in 2024. My goal on my assess list for 2023 was to read get the first 13 done and be up to date with the first 13, and I achieved that, so I was very, very happy about that. So, yeah, not a lot to say. I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but I will just say that we're following Hayley Powell in this series, who is a columnist. She writes a food and cocktails column, which is piece and parcel throughout each and every single book in the series. In this particular one, someone new to the town that is running a food truck named Trudy accidentally dies while catering a Halloween party. The case actually becomes more complicated when Hayley's husband admits he'd seen someone dressed as a witch hurrying away from the food truck. So, yeah, but unfortunately that's not very helpful because there were countless women at the party who wore the same costume. But now Hayley finds herself sandwiched between witches and witnesses as she considers a smorgasbord of suspects. Honestly, this was not my favourite of the series. I have to say, though, that it's not a bad book at all. I just think it was average compared to many of the others in the series so far, and in my opinion, Lee and Hollis can be forgiven for an average read given that most of the books in the series are amazing. I loved the beginning. I loved meeting Trudy and finding out about her food truck was a whole lot of fun. The Halloween party in the next chapter was fun also, but once the death happened and the mystery began, I found myself becoming more and more disinterested. The reveal wasn't an amazing reveal either, in my opinion. As I said, it was not a bad read per se, just an average one compared to the others, and I am looking forward to getting book 14, and I gave this one 3 stars. The next book that I read was this book, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, book 4 in the Harry Potter series. This is the first YA book in the series. It is a YA fantasy, and I gave this book 5 stars. So to my thoughts on this one, there is just so much about this book to love. The Quidditch final allows for bigger world building as we get to see things in the wizarding world further than Hogsmeade. Winky is within my top 5 of favourite characters, and it is not only a pleasure to meet her and to see her character arc, but also to meet the rest of the house elves that work at Hogwarts. The Triwizard Tournament is so much more fun in the books than in the films. Hermione's unwavering support continues to amaze me and bring me joy, and everything that happens from the moment Harry enters the final task through to the final words, the end, is a massive journey that can only be read in one sitting. It was truly an amazing reread for me. In 2020, I made a profound apology to the inanimate object that is this book, the physical book. I'm holding it in my hands. I know you can't see me right now. Because of how much I really, really detest the movie of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. So I took it out on the book and didn't read the book for many, 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 many years. And then finally reread it, forced myself to reread it in 2020 so I could faithfully read the entire series back then, and realized, oh my gosh, it's the film. The film does a huge disservice to the book. The book is amazing. So if you don't like Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire film, read the book, because the book is incredible. Don't allow the film to stop you from reading or rereading the book, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, because the book is incredible. And Mike Newell and I, who is the director of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire film, need to have many words. And one day we will have many words. 5 stars for the book. It's fantastic. I can't highly recommend it enough. The next book that I read was the longest book in the Harry Potter series, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. This, according to Goodreads My Edition, is 766 pages long, which makes it a tome and a half. Hallelujah, Miss J.K. Rowling. This is also a YA fantasy, and I once again gave this book 5 stars. So to my thoughts on this one, I love the series as a whole, and this is the single longest book in the series, and I can see why. So much happens. I love to hate Umbridge so much in this book. To me, she comes across as more evil and for a longer period of time than Voldemort, if you can believe it. I love the inspections, as that truly shows her evilness. The Ministry's Department of Mysteries is intriguing, but it's the big reveal from Dumbledore at the end that has me eagerly anticipating my Half-Blood Prince read. For 766 pages, it is a read of sheer entertainment on the highest level. 5 stars from me. The next book that I read was this book, Stalking Around the Christmas Tree by Jacqueline Frost, aka Julie Ann Lindsay. This is book number 4 in the Christmas Tree Farm mystery series, and I gave this book a total of 4 stars. Okay, very quickly before we move into anything else about this book. First of all, it's not a Harry Potter book. In case you haven't noticed, you can look now. It's not a Harry Potter book. Yeah. First of all, this book actually came out a while before I read it. Yeah, it came out in October 17, 2023. It was the published date. And I read it, a couple of days before Christmas. And the reason I did that was because it's the Christmas Tree Farm mystery series. I wanted to read it close to Christmas. That was my decision. Next thing I want to make mention is that there is a dedication on page, I don't know if it's like 3 or 4, depending upon which edition you're reading. I have the hardcover. The Christmas Tree Farm series is the only cozy mystery series I have that every single book I own in hardcover edition. But anyway, there is a dedication here that I love, and it says, "To Tiffany, it's been lovely killing you." So Tiffany is a massive shout out from Julianne Lindsay, aka on the cover, Jacqueline Frost. And from me, I'm more than happy to give her the shout out as well. Tiffany is the booktuber from Beach Bum Bookworm, who I have a lot of love and respect for. I remember back in the day, Julianne Lindsay and Tiffany were doing an interview on her booktube channel, and Tiffany went to ask Julianne Lindsay a question, and I think Julianne Lindsay was thinking Tiffany was going to ask her, if she's ever been asked to put someone into a series she's writing as the main character. And Tiffany corrected her and said, no, what I was going to ask was, have you had anyone anyone ever request that they be the person that you kill in the series? And Julie Ann Lindsay said no. And Tiffany said, well, that's what I've always wanted. I've always wanted someone to kill me in a cozy book. And Julie Ann Lindsay said she would, and she did in this one. So congrats, Tiffany, and the shout out that you get for the dedication is very much deserved. Reading this book, every time they mention the name of Tiffany, I imagined Tiffany from the Beach Bum Bookworm in the book. So there you go. I'm so happy for Tiffany. The premise of this book is Innkeeper Holly White. For Innkeeper Holly White, Christmas time in Mistletoe, Maine is the ultimate holiday gift. Business at the Reindeer Games Inn is booming. Her wedding to Sheriff Evan Gray is nearly here, and the annual parade is about to begin. The town is lucky to have another gift this year, with the state's ballet company staying for several performances of the Nutcracker. But disaster strikes when Tiffany, the lead ballerina, shows up dead on a float during the parade. The Rat King's mask nearby. Holly will have to spruce up her sleuthing skills if she wants to catch the killer before Christmas and her wedding day. So, to my thoughts on the book, while I love ballet, watching and dancing both, the mystery just didn't intrigue me at all. From about the halfway mark onwards, I gave up on trying to solve the murder and just sat back and enjoyed the book playing out before me. That being said, I love the cozy side of the series and will continue to read every subsequent book released. Where else in a cozy can you find a series where everything is so Christmassy and even includes multiple Christmas games in the lead up to the big day? I thought the ending, which should have been huge, as it is massive for the arc of the series, could have been a lot longer. I felt we were limited to a couple of paragraphs for what should have been a massive event for the book and series as a whole. I docked 0.5 stars for that, and 0.5 stars for the lack of interest in the mystery, and gave it 4 stars. Without being spoilery, what I'm referring to here is, with the ending, and it not being as massive as it should have been for the arc of the series as a whole, I'm not talking about the reveal of the mystery. There is something that happens subsequent to the reveal of the mystery that is a huge thing for the arc of the entire series as a whole, and there was only a couple of paragraphs dedicated to that thing. That really annoyed me, and so I deducted 0.5 stars for that, and 0.5 stars for the lack of interest in the mystery, giving it a total of 4 stars from me. But I love this world, and oh my gosh, Jacqueline Frost, whoever you may be you Julie Ann Lindsay to start with, and if anyone else takes over, be whoever it is that takes over. Hopefully not for a long time though, because I love Julie Ann Lindsay running the series. I will keep reading every single book that comes out subsequent to this, because it is Christmas, Christmas, Christmas to the umpteenth degree. 4 stars from me. The next book that I read was this book, Jack Frost by Debbie Maycomber. This is an adult romance and a Christmas romance, and I gave this book 4 stars. For the last couple of years, I've been trying to read Debbie Maycomber book in December, and I continued that on with this read. So I was really, really happy that I read another Debbie Maycomber. But this is really short. It's a novella. In fact, I have the physical book on me, which costs way too much money because it's only 82 pages and it was like $32 to buy this book. But anyway, it's fine. It is what it is. Let's talk about the premise of this book, shall we? With the rest of her family on a cruise, Lindsay Calhoun will be spending her first Christmas alone, so she volunteers to plan an especially festive holiday party for her company. Her co-workers are grateful, except for tall, quiet Jack Taylor. Jack has always been a loner, but something about Christmas puts him in an unusually foul mood. Despite Jack's Scrooge-like complaints, the party is a success, ending only with a sudden snowstorm. As Lindsay cleans up and Jack looks for lost keys, they are the last ones in the building. Then the power goes out, the locks malfunction, Lindsay and Jack are stuck together with no rescue in sight. The book, for what it was, as far as my thoughts are concerned, was good. It was really adorable. It was sad that it was short, as I say, it was only 82 pages, and so therefore it didn't really give time to fully flesh out the characters, and therefore the story as a whole. But still, for what it was still a cute, quick read, and I gave the book 4 stars. And the final book that I read for the month of December was this book, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. This is a YA fantasy, and it is the second last book in the series if you don't count Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, and I gave this book 4.5 stars. So quickly just going through my thoughts on this one. I'm giving this book the highest rating I've given it since my first rated reread in 2020. I really enjoyed this one more than the other rereads, so this reread more than the others. Knowing we're getting the memories made me not love this one as much as the others, but I realized this reread that the entire first third of the book doesn't contain any memories whatsoever. I really enjoyed this reread. I'm just sad that I ran out of time before I could get to Deathly Hallows, and so usually I give this book 4 stars. I give every other book in the Harry Potter series up to and including Deathly Hallows 5 stars, but I always gave Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince 4 stars because the memories thing just didn't really work for me. But this time I gave it 4.5 stars. I do want to say that I still, again, not giving away spoilers, just saying character names. I did not like the Gaunt memory again. I never liked the Gaunt and Marvolo memories. I just don't like them. But I love the Hepzibah Smith memory so much more now than I used to. I don't know why, but it's just a great memory that they placed in there. The ending is so hard. Oh my gosh, we deal with something that is very hard to deal with at the end of this book. And it's very, very hard, yeah, for me as well. But anyway, I ended up giving it 4.5 stars, which is a higher rating than what I normally do. But that is it. Those are the 11 books that I read in the month of December 2023. What books did you read in the month of December 2023? Let me know in the comment section below. Welcome to 2024. It's time to start a new year, and I couldn't be any more excited. I love resetting all the stats to 0 and just, blank canvas. Let's jump right into the first read of the year. I'm very excited about that. The next video you will see from me is going to be a catch-up vlog. I did not vlog at all in December, so I'm looking forward to catching up with y'all and just talking about what's been going on for like the last month, what's been going on with me. And then after that, I'm starting a massive theme for January, and we'll talk about that when we get to it. I'm going to let you all go with peace, blessings, and so much love. Please do be kind and love one another and spread your sparkling energy all throughout the world. And until next time, happy reading. Bye, everyone.